Hello everyone, it is Grandmaster. This is the 7th time I have recorded this, I swear. Okay, I swear this is the 4th time I have recorded this. Today I'm going to teach you coding on Replit with the language Python. So, if you type in Replit, which is spelled R-E-P-L-I-T, that will bring you to Replit. You can, if you don't have an account, you can sign up and everything. You do not have to have the premium or like hacker level account. You can just start off with a basic. It allows you to have public REPLs and everything that you can create. Okay. So today I'm going to start off with the basics. How to print onto the console. Where my cursor is circling, that is the console. Now where my cursor is, that is your main.py file. That is where you are going to enter all of your code to create a game or any type of code you are going to make. If I just uncomment this will now, if I run this file, it is going to print hello YouTube. As you can see here up in the comment here, that is hashtagged out. To add a space, like to add a blank space, you basically just put print with your brackets and a comma in there, right? Or quotations. That will now make hello YouTube have space before and a space after, because you can see where my cursor is, there's a space in between there. That is just how you print stuff. In this in these the brackets here, you can put anything in here to print anything. Like if I were to make a variable here, blue equals fun. Okay, right? If I go print blue, it'll print fun. 1 second, I screwed up. It'll print fun. See? Right, see, you can basically print anything onto your console, whether it be a variable or just words you want to print over. The next topic is inputs. I will show you how to get a player's input on something. If you use input instead of print when you're coding, it'll allow the player or someone who is, running the code to input stuff on the console. And whatever is put into here will transfer over into your main.py, be saved as information. You can save it as a variable. So like I have here, player equals string input, what is your favorite color? And then I print player down here, okay? So when I enter this, it'll go, what is your favorite color? If I enter in blue, it'll print out blue. If I enter in red, it'll enter in red. If I enter in black, it'll print black. Because what I enter in is now equal to player. And this right here, you can change to anything. So I can change this to be what? It could be called orange. Anything I want. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay. So anything. Anything. Variables. I mentioned this above. Variables are very used, they're used a lot in coding. So variables are word/code that can hold onto information. For example, a number. In Python, there's two words that are used a lot with variables: false and true. False means you're turning it off, and true means you're turning it on, sort of thing. It's easy to understand. Just think of it as on and off. Right, that sort of thing. So right here, my variable, blue, is equal to false right now, okay? And if you look down here in my code, let me just highlight it, if blue equals true, print I'm blue. And if blue equals false, print I'm green. Because blue equals false, it'll print I'm green. See? It prints I'm green on the console. If I do change this up here to true, it'll print I'm blue instead of I'm green. That's just an example of variables being able to hold things. So like you can do this all on your own at whatever point you want, sort of thing. Def calls. Def calls are like variables but can hold more than one thing. They can hold an entire conversation, and once you call your def, it'll print out everything within it. So right here I have set up def call already because I've recorded this thing multiple times over. And it still just hasn't worked. So in my def call here it goes I'm blue and then it sings part of the song, right? Down here I'm calling my definition, which I made, which is a function. A def call is a function. It's basically a variable that just holds multiple things. So if I run this, it's gonna print I'm blue and then, the song part, right? Yeah, good. See? It works. Marvelous. If statements. I already showed you one earlier up here with variables, right? This right here is an if statement. They are used for adventure games or when a player inputs answers, or there's multiple choice questions in your code. For example, I have this right here. I can get this. Oh no, we don't. That one deleted. So right here, this beginning part says the straight line splits into two. Which hall do you want to go down, right or left? Right here, choice equals input. So input is whatever I write here on the console. That is input. So I'm basically turning my input into a variable, which is choice. That's called choice. So whenever I use the word choice, it'll take whatever I entered into the console. So it's equal to what's in the console. So that's why choice equals input. So down here, if choice equals R, right for right, R for right, print you went down the right path. Elif is just if, but it's when it's in the middle. I'll explain that further in a second or two. But if elif choice equals L, you went down the left path. Else it'll print enter invalid. So when I run this, it'll ask which hall do I want to go down. So if I press right, if I enter an R, it'll print you went down the right path. If I enter an L, you went down the left path. But if I enter in something that is not R or L, it'll say enter invalid. Okay? Now further explanation on if, elif, and else. So if, when you are starting a if statement, you will use if. So if choice equals R. That's what you would write. Elif is basically if. You could use if there, but people use elif. It's kind of easier to remember which one's at your top for when you're sorting. It's just easier to read when you're rereading your code to debug it and all of that. So elif equals choice L. That's just the middle one. And else, you will use else when you don't want people to cause an error in your code. Like this over here in the console, if a player didn't enter R or L, and I didn't have this else here, the game would just break. Just break entirely. Like it wouldn't work. So that's why people put else. and then it'll make people re-enter in until they get it right to be able to continue through something. Does that make sense? But you only really ever use else is if someone enters something that is not in one of the choices above, sort of thing. Anyway, that's all for the beginner, like, Python. This Replit, my Replit here, teaching Python, will be kept on public, so, like, you can all come and, like, read it, and all of that. I will leave it all uncommented out, so, like, it doesn't, so if someone does try to run it, it won't work, like, it won't error either, so you don't have a panic attack sort of thing. So, like, don't worry. Anyway, that is all. It was Grandmaster here teaching you. Please don't forget to like and sub to my YouTube account to help boost the awareness and be able to help me teach people learn like Python, the Python language.